It's your boy Judea, Black Shalom L'Chaim, purified drinking water. They got it. It's out there. Shouts out to the 12 tribes. I got it. It's right there. Okay, so we was talking about the right field. So this is the beginning of the right fields, and the only reason I'm calling them right field because we was talking about, right field. Excuse me, because we were talking about the being black in Israel. So what we're gonna do now is actually gonna talk about some other stuff. And and I know you heard my new that music I like is all slowed down and or chopped and screwed type. I kind of like it like that for this whole little right field thing. So that's what that's gonna be. It's make it light, make it low. Either way it go, it got a little soul in it. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting about this whole little right field thing is we finna talk about Emancipation Proclamation, Emmett Till. We about to talk about the hold on, I got a list of stuff right here. We about to talk about the black codes. We about to talk about the cold facts. We about to talk about 40 acres and a mule, poverty, special field order 15, objective 8, and all that stuff. We about to get into all of that with this right field thing. So that's what that is. And like I said, you gonna stand for Israel, you gotta stand for Palestine. If you gonna stand for Palestine, you gotta stand for Israel because we support the people and not the cause. And I hope today found you safer than yesterday did, and I hope tomorrow finds you safer than today and the day before. Like I said, we inside today because we got to be. So that's just what it is. So we're one of these right field things. So welcome to the right field. And hey, stop. 20-some videos, man. This right field about the wrong one. So let's get straight into that. So I said I was gonna do this like this. Cue the music I like.
Oh, Robin Peter to paper. As long as I stay comfortable, yeah, catch that paycheck, spend it all on shit that I thought won't pay its fault. We'll build that house up.
It came so sudden on them, they wasn't prepared for it, recalled one liberated slave. Just think of whole droves of people that had hardly ever left the plantation, turned loose all at once with nothing in the world but the clothes on their back. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves across the South. But Washington still had no clear plan for what to do once African Americans were free. On January 11th, President Lincoln sent his Secretary of War, Edwin M. Stanton, to Savannah. Stanton instructed General Sherman to set up a meeting with some of the city's black ministers. He wanted to hear how the freedmen imagined their future in the South. That evening, 20 black men entered the grand parlor as guests of Stanton and Sherman. 16 were former slaves. They chose Reverend Garrison Frazier, who had purchased his freedom 9 years earlier, to be their spokesman. For the first time, federal officials conferred with freed slaves about the future of African Americans in the South.
The exchange that occurs between Sherman, Stanton, and the Union generals and Reverend Frazier is one of the extraordinary moments of the Civil War and the ending of the Civil War. Because they asked Frazier not just what should we do with all these refugees, they asked him questions about what the war meant. They asked him questions about what the Emancipation Proclamation had meant. They asked him what the presence of black troops in the Union Army meant. And in many ways you'll find no better definition of the meaning of the Civil War and the kinds of answers that Garrison Frazier gives that day in Savannah.
The freedom, as I understand it, promised by the Emancipation Proclamation, is taking us from under the yoke of bondage and placing us where we could reap the fruit of our own labor.
To be a slave, as one of these ministers pointed out to General Sherman, was to be someone who had no control over his life's decisions. And now, these people feel the need to express their abilities, their choices.
The way we can best take care of ourselves is to have land, and we can soon maintain ourselves and have something to spare. We want to be placed on land until we are able to buy it and make it our own.
This was a man who never left probably coastal Georgia in his life. But he understood the Declaration of Independence. He understood the Emancipation Proclamation. And beyond that, he said, in effect, you should give us our rights, and you should protect our rights, and then you should leave us alone and let us be citizens.
4 days later, anxious to get thousands of freed slaves off his hands and Washington off his back, General Sherman issued Special Field Order 15. It was only a temporary order, but it became one of the most controversial of the Civil War. Plantations in the rice country had been abandoned by white planters during the war. 400,000 of these acres would be given over to African Americans for settlement. The huge land tract included the Sea Islands and parts of the Georgia and South Carolina coast.
40 acres of land will be given out to each family. Plus, Sherman says, the Army's got tons of mules, which we don't really need. They're broken down from our long march. If anyone wants a mule, they can have one of these mules. This is the origin of that famous phrase, 40 acres and a mule.
Here was a real revolution. A revolution in the land, on the land, a chance to be their own freeholders.
For 4 million African Americans in the South, news of 40 acres and a mule spread as fast as the contagion of freedom itself. Many saw this as proof that emancipation would finally give black men and women a true stake in the land they had toiled on for centuries.